Okay, so now we're going to go through the steps to attach the top plate, mount the top plate to the splitting machine. Again, you want to be very cautious that you don't nick this this leading edge piece right in here, because this is a very fancy finish that has a slight texture to it to help reduce friction, because this is actually pinching the blade a little bit to stabilize it and hold it precisely in place. So you come down and then in, okay? And we can remove these. Okay, now there's these little set screws here that are going to come into play. So what we're going to do initially is we're going to just tighten this loosely, tighten this loosely. Can you give me a standard Allen, not a T-handle that'll fit in there? Maybe like a 3mm maybe? Maybe this, oh no, that's a this guy. All right. So again, when I start to advance this, remember to do an overhand grip on the belt so that you don't expose all of these tendons and veins and all of that to the blade. So you always want to do an overhand grip here. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of have this, I'm going to tighten down pretty good on these 3 screws. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to loosen this screw right here first. Okay, and when I loosen that, oh, you know what? I think in order to loosen that, I'm going to have to ease off on this for a moment. I'm going to loosen this a little bit, and then I'm going to re-tighten this. And what we're going to find is it'll probably, okay, it's still clamped. Okay, so now what you can do is you can see that I'm unable to advance the blade because it's actually being pinched, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tighten this a little bit, because what this does is this pushes against the underneath plate and it pulls it off, and this is basically allowing us to very finely adjust how much pressure it has. You want it to hold the blade precisely. You don't want to pinch it too much, or it's going to make it a lot of strain on the motor, because it's not going to be able to turn the blade. And you don't want it too little, because then you're not going to have good control over the position of the blade. This is very important for establishing blade control, which will give you a more accurate split. Okay, so the whole key here, and you want to just sort of check this on each one of these screws.
These are backwards on the lefty loosey, righty tighty, but they're the opposite way.
No, I mean it's left. It's a regular thread. So you bring it to the left to loosen it. But when you loosen it, you're not pushing on the plate underneath it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So by going clockwise, you're pushing more into the underneath plate, which is causing this plate to lift up on the lip. It's interesting. This one doesn't seem to be gripping. Must still need to, you know what?
Stripped out.
This is either getting worn out
Probably gonna have little caps that go over these.
Okay, so now it is tight. So I'm going to okay. So now we're just going to check the last one. We're going to loosen this one. So I make sure that I'm at least pinching it. Okay, I am pinching. Okay, it's still not, I'm not able to move the wheel, so I'm gonna tighten this guy a little bit more. Okay, so now it's free. Okay, so that's how you adjust the top plate. It's basically sort of loosening the set screw, then tightening this guy, get it to the point where it does seize the blade and does not allow you to advance it, and then you just going back and forth, you re-loosen this screw, you tighten this one down, and then you retighten this screw such that it just stops seizing the blade. You want it to have just a little bit of a grab, but not too much. One indication, you should definitely be able to pull it through, without it having a lot of drag. The other indication is if you put your hand on this top plate and if it's warm, that's an indication that there's too much friction, and you perhaps need to be loosening these screws. That little plate that we looked at is a wear item, and over time, if you find that you're unable to get a good control of the blade, it might be that it's wearing out. One additional little check that you can do is you can take a little dowel like this that's been sharpened down to a point, and you can come down here, and I'm going to tighten this little hand wheel, and that'll move the lower roller out of the way. And one of the things that you want to see is that the blade does not have a lot of wiggle. Okay, there's a little bit of wiggle there, not too bad. So it's a little bit looser in the middle compared to on the sides. I don't know, are you able to see that pretty well? Here, let me take this and I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so if I grab this, you can see there's a little bit of wiggle there, but when I come over to this guy, there's very little wiggle. There's a little bit, but to me, this seems almost a little too much. So I might try and readjust that one. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this guy, then I'm going to loosen the set screw, I'm going to retighten this, that feels still a little too tight. For fun, let's just take a quick peek and see how much that improved our wiggle, if at all. A lot better. Okay, I'm gonna still loosen. I'm gonna. I think it's grabbing. Just when I pull it through by hand, it feels like there's just still a little too much friction. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen this guy. I'm gonna tighten this one just a little bit. Okay, that feels better. Now we're gonna come take a quick peek at this. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so that's a good test to do, just to make sure that you know, doing it by hand feel on the roller is one thing, but also being actually using a tool like this to make sure that it seems pretty well under control is a good thing too. Okay, so that's adjusting the top plate on the splitter.